Imagine this for a moment. You're sitting there, staring at your phone, debating whether to send that message. You type it out, then backspace, type again, pause and wonder, should I send it now? Or maybe later? That tiny decision when you choose to send that text can make the difference between creating excitement or accidentally killing attraction before it even begins. Timing, believe it or not, is everything. And when it comes to texting, most people get it wrong. See, attraction isn't just about what you say, it's about the rhythm and the pace you create in communication. Think about the last time you were binge watching a show. The writers didn't just throw all the best scenes at you in the first episode. They paced it out, built suspense, left you with cliffhangers. That's what kept you hooked, right? Texting works the exact same way. It's not about sending messages constantly, it's about sending them in a way that leaves her curious, engaged, and looking forward to your next response. Now, here's where most people sabotage themselves. They think showing interest means replying instantly every single time or flooding her with texts all day. But that does the opposite. It kills mystery and removes the natural tension that creates attraction. When every reply is instant, when every text comes too fast, it communicates one thing: that you're available at the drop of a hat. And while kindness and interest are great qualities, being too available strips away the sense of value and challenge that women are naturally drawn to. Instead, imagine creating a rhythm with your texts. Sometimes you reply quickly, showing that you're engaged and present. Other times you wait a little, not because you're playing games, but because you're showing that your life is full, that you have priorities, and that you're not just sitting around waiting for her reply. That unpredictability, that balance creates a psychological pull. She starts to wonder, what's he doing? Why hasn't he replied yet? And when your message finally comes through, it lands with more weight, more curiosity, more impact. But here's the beauty of timing. It's not just about waiting to text back. It's also about knowing when to send the first message. Let's say you've had an amazing conversation earlier in the day. Do you immediately jump back in with another message an hour later? Or do you give it space, allow the good feelings to linger, and then re-engage later with something light, funny, or thought-provoking? Giving her space to feel the emotions of your last exchange makes your next message something she looks forward to, instead of something that feels forced or rushed. Think about how powerful anticipation really is. When you space things out, you allow her imagination to work for you. She starts thinking about what you might say next, replaying your last conversation, even checking her phone to see if you've messaged. That's attraction psychology at work. You're not overwhelming her with words, you're giving her room to want more. And when she wants more, that's when you know you're winning. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about manipulation or playing childish games. It's about balance. If you wait too long every single time, you risk coming off cold, uninterested, or detached. If you reply too quickly every time, you risk coming off needy. The secret is finding that sweet spot where she feels your interest, but also feels the challenge. It's about sending your messages when it makes sense, when it fits naturally, and when it adds value to the flow of connection. Here's a simple example. Let's say she sends you something exciting, like a funny story from her day. If you're genuinely free, reply right away. Share a laugh, build the moment, enjoy it. But if she's just sending something light, like a, "Hey, what's up?" there's no need to jump on it instantly. Give it a bit of time, then reply with something engaging. That contrast between quick engagement and measured patience creates a dance, and attraction is built in that dance, not in predictability. Another layer to timing is knowing when not to text. Sometimes silence is more powerful than words. If a conversation feels like it's naturally winding down, don't force it to keep going. End it on a high note and leave her wanting more. That pause gives her the chance to think about you in between messages, to anticipate the next time your name lights up her phone. And trust me, when your texts arrive after that pause, they'll have so much more impact. And let's not forget, your timing also reflects your confidence. A confident man doesn't feel the need to rush, to constantly check his phone, or to be at someone's beck and call. His timing communicates that he has options, that he has things going on, and that his attention is valuable. That's what women respond to, not just the words you write, but the energy behind when you send them. So if you want to use texting as a tool for attraction, Remember this, don't just focus on what you say it. Focus on when you say it, build anticipation, create rhythm, and let her feel that natural push and pull. Timing isn't just about patience, it's about psychology. And when you master it, you'll find that your words don't just get read, they get remembered. Because sometimes the silence between your texts speaks louder than the texts themselves. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever sent a message, stared at the screen, and wondered why the reply felt so dry, so short, almost like she wasn't even interested? You might have thought, did I say something wrong? Was my text boring? Did I kill the vibe? The truth is the problem wasn't what you said, it was how it made her feel. See, people don't remember words as much as they remember emotions. And when it comes to texting, if your words don't spark emotion, they'll fall flat every single time. Think about it this way. Imagine you're watching a movie where nothing happens, no drama, no laughter, no tension, no surprises. Would you stay until the end? Probably not. Now, imagine a movie that makes you laugh out loud, keeps you curious, touches your heart, or even surprises you with a twist you didn't see coming. That's the movie you'll tell your friends about, the one that stays in your mind. Texting works in exactly the same way. She doesn't just want your words, she wants the feeling behind them. And this is where so many men get stuck. They send safe, predictable, flat messages like, "How was your day?" or "What's up?" And while there's nothing wrong with those words, they don't create an emotional spark. They don't stand out. They don't make her stop what she's doing, smile at her phone, and feel excited to reply. If every message feels like a routine check-in, then the connection never deepens. You're basically putting her to sleep instead of making her heart race. So, what's the secret? It's understanding that attraction is built through emotions, not logic. Women connect through feelings. If your texts can make her laugh, if they can surprise her, if they can make her curious or even tease her a little, then you've got her hooked. It's not about sending long paragraphs or trying too hard. It's about sending words that wake up her emotions. Let me give you a simple example. Instead of texting, "How was your day?" you might say, "Tell me the most chaotic thing that happened today. I know there's at least one." Do you see the difference? One is flat, the other creates curiosity and a smile. Instead of saying, "What are you doing?" you could say, "Don't tell me you're secretly binge watching that show without me." Suddenly, the conversation feels alive, playful, and engaging. Humor is one of the easiest ways to spark emotion. A witty comment, a light tease, even a silly emoji at the right moment can completely change the energy of a conversation. But here's the thing, it has to feel natural, not forced. If you're trying too hard to be funny, it shows. The key is to relax, enjoy the conversation, and look for moments where you can add a little twist that makes her laugh or smile. But emotions aren't just about humor. Curiosity is powerful too. When you send a message that makes her think, that makes her wonder, that keeps her guessing, you're pulling her deeper into the conversation. Instead of giving everything away, drop hints, leave questions open, share a thought without fully explaining it right away. That little touch of mystery keeps her engaged because she wants to know more. And don't underestimate the power of validation, done the right way. A genuine compliment, especially one that goes beyond the surface, can touch her heart. Instead of the usual, "You're beautiful," which she's probably heard 1,000 times, notice something deeper. Maybe it's her sense of humor, her creativity, or the way she tells a story. A text that highlights something unique about her personality makes her feel seen. And when someone feels truly seen, they naturally lean in closer. Now, let me address something important. A lot of people hear this and think they need to put on a performance, to constantly try to be funny or mysterious. That's not the point. The point is to be authentic but intentional, to bring more life into your conversations, to stop sending texts on autopilot and instead send messages that reflect your energy, your presence, and your personality, because when your texts carry real energy, she can feel it, even through a screen. The truth is, women remember how you make them feel far more than the exact words you say. If every time she sees your name pop up on her phone, she feels excitement, joy, curiosity, or even a little bit of playful tension, then you're winning. But if all she feels is boredom or obligation, she'll lose interest quickly, no matter how good of a guy you are in person. So start asking yourself this with every message you send. What emotion am I creating with this text? If the answer is none, rewrite it. If the answer is something light, fun, or intriguing, send it. That simple shift can completely change the way women respond to you. Because at the end of the day, texting isn't about words, it's about feelings. And the man who can spark emotions through his messages is the man she'll always look forward to hearing from. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the things we don't fully understand are often the things we can't stop thinking about? It's human nature. The movie that ends on a cliffhanger, the song that leaves a lingering note, the story that doesn't reveal everything at once, those are the ones that stick in our minds. The same principle applies when you're texting a woman. If you give her everything up front, if you explain every detail, if you never leave anything to the imagination, you take away the very thing that makes her curious about you. And curiosity, my friend, is one of the strongest fuels for attraction. Here's the mistake most people make. They think being open means laying it all out. They think the more they share, the more a woman will like them. They overshare their schedule, their feelings, their thoughts, their every move. And while honesty is important, what they don't realize is that giving too much too soon leaves no space for intrigue. Imagine reading a book where the author tells you the ending in the first chapter. Would you keep reading? Probably not. You'd lose interest because the mystery is gone. When it comes to attraction, mystery doesn't mean being secretive or cold. It doesn't mean refusing to answer questions or acting like you've got something to hide. Mystery is about leaving just enough unsaid that she feels compelled to lean in closer. It's about dropping hints instead of full explanations, about sharing stories that spark questions instead of tying everything up in a neat little bow. You want her mind to linger after the conversation, to replay your words, to wonder about what you didn't say. That's the pull of mystery. Let's take a simple example. Imagine she asks you what you're doing tonight. You could reply, just watching Netflix? That's safe, predictable, and it ends the curiosity right there. Or you could say, about to dive into something interesting. I'll tell you later. Do you see the difference? One shuts down curiosity, the other creates it. She starts to wonder, what is he doing? Why won't he tell me yet? Now she's invested, her imagination fills the gaps, and that tiny bit of intrigue keeps you in her thoughts. Another way to create mystery is through playful storytelling. Instead of giving straightforward answers, you can wrap them in a little intrigue. For example, if she asks about your day, you don't have to list every boring detail. You could say, let's just say my morning coffee turned into an adventure. Remind me to tell you when we talk. That one line is enough to make her curious, to keep her waiting, to make your next conversation something she looks forward to. Mystery also comes from not being overly predictable with your responses. If every text is exactly what she expects, there's no excitement. But if you occasionally switch it up, sometimes playful, sometimes thoughtful, sometimes a little teasing, you create layers. She can't quite pin you down, and that unpredictability makes you more compelling. People are drawn to what they can't fully figure out. When you're a little unpredictable, you become someone she wants to understand more, someone she wants to get closer to. Now, let me make this clear. Mystery isn't about manipulation. It's not about creating confusion or playing games. It's about allowing your personality to unfold slowly, about pacing the way you reveal yourself. Think of it like a movie trailer. The trailer gives you just enough to get excited, but not the whole story. That's what makes you want to buy a ticket. In texting, when you give her glimpses, when you hold back just enough, you create that same anticipation. And here's the beautiful part, mystery is actually rooted in confidence. A man who feels the need to explain everything, to share everything, to constantly prove himself through words is often operating from insecurity. But a man who can hold back a little, who can let silence speak sometimes, who doesn't rush to over-explain, that man communicates certainty. He's showing that he doesn't need to be validated by constant attention. And that quiet confidence is magnetic. The psychology behind this is simple. When you don't reveal everything, the mind fills in the gaps. And the mind almost always fills those gaps in ways that elevate you. She starts imagining scenarios, thinking about possibilities, projecting qualities onto you that may not even be spoken. That's why mystery is such a powerful driver of attraction. It's not about what you say, it's about what you don't say. Here's the truth, mystery keeps things alive. When she doesn't know exactly what you're going to say, when she doesn't fully know what you're doing, when she's left with questions after a conversation, she becomes more invested. She checks her phone more often. She replays your words. She waits for the next piece of the puzzle. That's when texting stops being routine and starts being exciting. So the next time you're about to text, stop and ask yourself, am I giving everything away, or am I leaving room for her imagination to play? Am I shutting down curiosity, or am I sparking it? Because when you master the art of mystery, your messages won't just get read, they'll get remembered, replayed, and craved. Because at the end of the day, attraction isn't about how much you reveal, it's about how much you leave her wanting more. Picture this: a woman gets a message, she sees your name light up on her phone, and before even opening it, she already feels something. Now here's the question: does she feel excitement, curiosity, and a pull toward you, or does she feel indifference? Like she already knows it's just another predictable text. The difference often comes down to one thing: confidence. Not in the sense of bragging or being cocky, but in the way your words carry certainty, direction, and self-assurance. Confidence is the invisible energy behind your texts, and it's the one quality that makes women respond instantly, not because of what you say, but because of how you say it. The biggest trap many men fall into when texting is hesitation. They second guess every word, they overthink every emoji, they worry about how each message will be interpreted. That hesitation shows up in the conversation. Messages become overly careful, overly polite, or overly long. And while politeness isn't a bad thing, when it comes from fear of rejection, it dilutes the energy. Women can feel when a man is texting from a place of insecurity. It shows up in the endless explanations, in the apologetic tones, in the safe but boring words. Confidence, on the other hand, is simple, direct, and relaxed. It's in the way you don't need to explain yourself with paragraphs. It's in the way you send a short, playful line instead of a long, nervous explanation. It's in the way you're not afraid of silence, not afraid of waiting for her to respond, not afraid of her taking her time. When your messages are rooted in confidence, they carry weight. They stand out, not because they're complicated, but because they feel assured. Let's take an example. Imagine you want to invite her out. A man lacking confidence might send, "Hey, I was just wondering if maybe you'd like to hang out sometime, but only if you're not too busy. I don't want to bother you or anything." Now compare that to "Drinks tomorrow night. You in?" The second one is shorter, clearer, and radiates certainty. Which one do you think makes her feel more attracted? It's not about being rude or dismissive, it's about showing that you know what you want and you're not afraid to express it. Another part of confident texting is not chasing. When you send a message, you don't immediately panic if she doesn't reply in 5 minutes. You don't double text nervously, asking if she saw your message. You trust your value enough to let the conversation breathe. That patience shows you're not desperate for her attention, and that's what makes her attention naturally flow toward you. Remember, neediness repels, but confidence attracts. Confidence also shows in the tone of your messages. Instead of trying to prove yourself, you simply share who you are. If you're being playful, you lean into it. If you're teasing, you do it lightly without over-explaining. If you're making a plan, you state it clearly instead of dancing around it. Women are drawn to clarity because it signals strength. A man who knows what he wants and communicates it simply is far more attractive than a man who tries too hard to say the perfect thing. Here's something many people overlook: confidence isn't about being loud, bold, or aggressive. It's about calm assurance. It's the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need constant validation. It's the kind of energy that says, "I know my worth, I know my time is valuable, and I don't need to prove it in every sentence." That kind of energy is magnetic because it feels rare, especially in a world where so many people are desperate for approval. Even the way you use humor reflects confidence. A confident man can tease playfully without fearing she'll get upset, because he knows his intention is lighthearted. He can make a joke without waiting anxiously for validation. And if she doesn't respond right away, he doesn't spiral into self-doubt. That steady, relaxed energy creates safety and attraction at the same time. And let's not forget, confidence is also about boundaries. If she sends something dismissive, or if she tests you with a playful challenge, your response reveals your level of confidence. Do you fold under the pressure, apologizing for things you didn't even do wrong? Or do you respond with calm assurance, showing that you're not easily shaken? Women naturally test confidence, not because they're trying to play games, but because they're wired to look for strength. The man who can hold his ground lightly, without being defensive, earns instant respect. Now, here's the part that ties it all together. Confidence in texting is really just a reflection of confidence in life. If you're secure in who you are, if you live with purpose, if you value yourself, that will show up in the way you communicate. Your texts won't be desperate attempts to win approval. They'll be natural extensions of your energy. That's why confidence can't be faked long term. It has to come from genuinely knowing your worth and owning it. So every time you send a message, ask yourself, am I writing this from fear or from certainty? Am I over-explaining or am I speaking simply and directly? Am I trying to impress or am I just being myself? When your words come from a place of confidence, she'll feel it instantly, even through a screen. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the length of your messages, the cleverness of your jokes, or the timing of your replies. It's about the confidence behind every word.